I'm going to start up with this one up here. All right, tell me what's going on here. Who's this?
This is Laura, and I've shot Laura a couple of times. Tattoo artist down in the city here. On this particular time, it was the first time I had met her, and we were just wandering by, and I knew the guy who I'd photographed the guy who owned the shop. She was familiar with the pictures that I had taken of him. So we just chatted about it, and she talked about how she was mentoring underneath that photographer and wanting to get into it. And she'd studied art. She knew a little bit about photography and one thing and another. And it was one of those days when the light was good, and I'm on the street. I'm always looking before. Often I will. Prior to asking or getting into a conversation, it's already in the back of my mind that I am going to be at some point bringing it up that I would like to take a picture. And so what I am doing at that point is I'm also scouting where would be a suitable backdrop to get that person in. To for me, I'm I sort of looking for something a little bit fairly plain at the back, be a brick wall or a stone wall, or in this case a doorway or whatever. So I'm already sort of scanning out a location that I could possibly just ask them to step over a couple of steps. I was just fortunate with this right on King Street here. There is a doorway, and after we'd had the conversation, and she'd okayed that I would take one. I pulled out my my cell phone, my image taking device, and I grabbed 3 or 4 images, and that was it. This one here, I submitted off to a couple of different places, and a magazine called Shots from out of the US. They were doing people, and they used that edition that they did.
When you shoot shots like this on your cell phone, 2-part question. A, are you using just your normal phone, or do you have one particular for taking photos? And when you are, second part of that question, when you do take the photos, are you just doing it on the phone's automatic mode, or are you going into like the pro settings and just trying to fiddle around with the exposure triangle and stuff like that to get an ideal image?
No, I'm I'm using the iPhone, and it's my phone basically. I'm using it for the internet or whatever. But I've got 6 or 7, 10 different apps on there for processing my stuff. I shoot it just on the regular settings, and then what I do is my very first thing I do after I do all my images, and I'll be and depending like on that particular day of Laura, I think I'd been out wandering, so I came back home and I sit down and I've maybe got 20 images on my phone of her. I go through and I heart the ones that I think are my faves, and then I go back to them. And often what I do with and that's the nice thing about the card is I try and get their approval. First of all, I'll say if they've got Instagram, they'll we usually start following each other, and then then what I do is I'll send all the images through to them that I took. And then I usually edit a couple, and I said, "Oh, I'm thinking of posting these. Are you okay with it?" So there's, there have been times when I have shot people who don't have any social media presence at all, and I've already had a conversation with them that I will be, it usually comes up, well, what are you going to do with the photo? And I said, well, I do street, and then I'm going to be putting it on my Instagram or on my Tumblr, or it's going to go on my Facebook page or whatever. But there's usually at that point there's been the kind of verbal okay that I'm going to post it. I never got to that point where I have been taking photographs of somebody and then asking them to sign what do they call it now?
Like a waiver or like agreement or something? Model release? Model release?
Yeah, model release. Yeah, I've never done that. It's just always been a verbal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I then come back, and like I say, I've got my go-to apps are Snapseed, and I usually bring it into there. I've got some presets that I've already created in there for certain movements that I like to, some of the editing stuff that I like. And if you look at it, for the most part, a lot of my stuff is desaturated. I like to bring in the detail, but I don't like the, what HDR often does, where it brings in a lot of color. If I do apply, something like that where I'm increasing detail and structure, then at that point I'm usually decreasing saturation to take that out of it. And you'll kind of see it in my especially on my portrait part of it, that a lot of it is desaturated, and then often I will I'll make them mono, black and white or something.